moments I remember actually happened during rehearsals. It was during the rehearsal period of one of the Cybermen stories. I think I'd had a rather late night the night before, and I came into rehearsal room not looking my best. Pat Fraser and I had done a scene, and we all sat down at the side of the room to just learn our lines and prepare for the next scene. And I was wearing a kilt, quite a short kilt, but a kilt. And Pat and Fraser sat either side of me. I have to say here that we were rehearsing in a church hall, which is quite relevant to the story. And I sat down, and because I'd had this late night, I sort of nodded off like this. And suddenly I got 2 elbows in my ribs, with Pat and Fraser either side of me saying, "Quick, quick, you're on, you're on." And I shot out of my chair, and my kilt was still behind me. They'd unbuckled it while I was asleep and just pulled it away from me. And I shot it in the middle of the rehearsal room in my knickers. And I ran out, I was so embarrassed. I ran out of the doors, into the hall, and bumped into the vicar. And I curtsied and said, "Good morning, vicar," and rushed into the ladies' room. That is the most I feel embarrassed now thinking about it.
I miss it very much indeed. Very much indeed. But strangely enough, I, like Doctor Who's become a cult, but I still carry on with my voice as I now go around with another programme from Thames Television, a programme called Rainbow, in which we have not quite a Dalek, but Zippy and George, and I do the voices of those. So perhaps not as a Dalek and not as a Cyberman this time, but perhaps I can say goodbye to you now. Goodbye from Zippy and goodbye from George. Yes, goodbye.
I remember the end of The Wheel in Space really well, purely because it was where I went on to join Patrick and Fraser in their adventures. And I can remember the very last shot, which was Patrick trying to put me off, really, by saying to me, he put on that sort of thing on his head where the thought processes came out and onto a screen, and he said, "I'm not sure you'll want to come with us, Zoe. Have you ever heard of the Daleks?" My thought was, yep, I would like to go. I'd like to meet a Dalek. Having already met the Cybermen, I think she was just so fascinated by them. She'd have loved to have gone anywhere to meet anything after that.
While The Wheel in Space was still in production, producer Peter Bryant asked Kit Pedler for yet another Cybermen adventure. Although the story started off as a 6-part idea entitled Return of the Cybermen, what transpired was an 8-part story called simply and enigmatically The Invasion.
That's where the main control switches for the radio beam.
There don't seem to be any Cybermen about at all, that's odd.
Well, let's not waste time then.
Episode of The Invasion was transmitted just before Christmas 1968. It was to be spring 1975 before there was another fully fledged Cyberman story. But in less than 3 years, the Cybermen had been the formidable foes in no less than 5 full adventures. Their longevity was assured.